It's a weird time that we are in right now, and maybe that's even an understatement. I hope you are at home, safe, and the same goes of course for the whole gaming industry. And as we discussed before here on the channel, working from home for these big gaming developers can pose some challenges that can in the end impact the release dates of these games or even the next-gen consoles. We now did get some statements though from many publishers, including Ubisoft and Sony, about the situation, and while it does sound okay, it's also hard to fully believe them, because how can they know what will happen in these following weeks? Let's look at those latest updates that we have and how things are already impacted. A like on the video would be super appreciated, and let's go. There are still a few days left at the time of this recording for my March giveaway for a 2020 game of your choice. All you need to do is follow the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win. Be sure you are a subscriber of the channel as well before you enter, and good luck. I will reach out to the winner on April 1st and then likely immediately start a new giveaway for April. And 2020 is still going to be a big year for Ubisoft. I've made a whole video about how 2019 did not go as planned for them thanks to Ghost Recon and The Division 2, and how 2020 is the true test to see if they still know how to successfully launch big AAA games. It's funny how we're almost in April and really nothing of consequence has happened for them. I mean, sure, they launched a new expansion for The Division 2 that I quite liked, and some interesting events for their ongoing games, like we got Prince of Persia in For Honor. Gotta say, it looks pretty cool, and they also just had Sam Fisher now in Ghost Recon Breakpoint to try and lure more people into that game. And that really seems to be the purpose of these classic characters nowadays. Instead of giving them new titles, they will just use them to get people to play the other games that they do have. Watch Rayman get resurrected for another Ubisoft property. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that that actually happened in Brawlhalla months after Ubisoft acquired that developer. Either way, while we normally have these big AAA releases from Ubisoft in the early part of the year, like The Division 2 and Far Cry 5 in the year prior to that, they have been delaying of course everything till later this year. And that footage that you see here from Watch Dogs Legion is footage that they revealed at E3 almost a year ago. And I think I've said it before, but I can't wait to see how that game has changed and improved, but not sure when we will see that. They said May during a financial call in February, but now with everything that is going on, it's of course hard to do a press event and a big blowout for a game. So maybe they will delay that. I will, by the way, touch on this subject a little later in the video. In the Netherlands, we are now asked to stay home till June 1st, with obviously no good indication if things are back to normal after that point. I mean, nobody knows, but so far companies seem to be pretty chill and assuring investors that things are not impacted that much. We got Ashraf Ismail tweeting out this tweet saying, "Just had a Leeds meeting, my camera was off. Gavin Young wanted proof as to my existence, health, here's the truth of the situation, Gavin." Obviously, it's not a surprise that they are then also doing digital meetings for the new Assassin's Creed, but still thought it was a fun example. And if you are still not 100% convinced that Ashraf, the director of Origins and Black Flag, is working on this new Viking game, well, the Gavin that Ashraf was referring to is a programming team lead at Ubisoft Montreal, as we see in his Twitter bio. He tweeted out on March 26, 2020 that he has been working on Assassin's Creed for 9 years. And if we look at his LinkedIn, we see that he has been working at Ubisoft for 9 years. So very hard at work on the new Assassin's Creed likely, so that's why he's meeting with Ashraf. Again, no surprise there, but thought it was fun pointing out. But yeah, overall the point is that they started working on this new Assassin's Creed right after Origins came out. Then a team inside Montreal still worked on the Hidden Ones DLC that would then launch in January. And the more I think back at the DLC, the more I like it. It was really a great package for the $10. Either way, they are now working on this Viking game for 2 years and 4 or almost 5 months, looking at the LinkedIn from Ashraf. Origins was in development for 4 years, as we actually also see on his LinkedIn page. Sure, they redid a ton for Origins, and they can now continue to build on that and also on the mechanics of Odyssey, but it can make you worry that maybe a few more slower months could make the development timeline less realistic if they indeed want to launch in the fall of this year. Ubisoft did now send a statement though to Bloomberg saying that at the moment the impact on Ubisoft Productions is minimal and has not affected our release schedule for the upcoming fiscal year. And that release schedule is 3 AAA games between October, November and December and 2 AAA games in early 2021. So those games, Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, the new Assassin's Creed and the rumored new Far Cry game, seem to be on track at least for now. On the other hand, without any hard dates or even an announcement for 2 of those games, it could totally be that behind the scenes they moved the new Assassin's Creed already back by a few weeks from the planned release. And really nobody outside of Ubisoft would know. Right now, all we know is that Ubisoft has one big unannounced AAA game planned for the fall, so October, November or December, and that is very likely the new Assassin's Creed. They showed before with Assassin's Creed Unity that they are willing to delay a game if it's needed, but still don't want to miss out on those holiday sales, even if it means that the game is not that polished. The game was delayed by 2 weeks close to the release, although that of course did not really make the difference. And now with the next gen consoles still saying that they will launch this holiday, Ubisoft has another reason to do everything to make sure that Assassin's Creed is ready. Like Microsoft recently reconfirmed that holiday 2020 is still the plan, and Sony also does not see everything that is going on right now affect the PS5 launch, or also their exclusive games. And that is all good news of course, and I really think that they want to make it happen, and they don't want another holiday season with the Xbox One and PS4, because last Christmas they were already on their last legs. But of course, some things are just out of anyone's control, and while it's good to hear that Sony, Microsoft and Ubisoft at least remain confident, looking at other stories that came out recently, it's hard to not remain skeptical. It already started in early February with the Outer Worlds on Switch that was delayed because the Virtuos team, and I hope I pronounced that right, was impacted. And if you are not familiar, this is an outsourcing company doing assets for big AAA games like Jedi Fallen Order most recently, and also the Assassin's Creed Liberation Remastered. And they are likely working on many big AAA games that are not announced yet and now might have some trouble behind the scenes. Bethesda just delayed their big Wastelanders expansion for Fallout 76 by 1 week, basically saying that they transitioned to remote work like many other studios, and that this, quote, has affected our ability to do final testing we need for Wastelanders, and we must move the release a week. A week is not long, but it does prove that it's obviously different to work on big games from home, and this game is already out. I would imagine that it's even harder to work on unfinished titles. And I can really go on and show you more examples or talk about the big game releases that are happening in April that already warned people that physical copies on launch day are likely hard to get. Not to mention the movie industry that has also been heavily impacted by this. And to be clear, while I of course can't wait for the new Assassin's Creed, if they have to delay it because of circumstances and to make sure that everyone is safe, then totally do it. I just think that it's realistic to keep that possibility in mind, even if Ubisoft and other publishers are saying otherwise. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that everything just goes as planned in the fall of this year. And even with publishers and developers saying that there is not an impact, there is actually already one, and it's very noticeable. Namely the lack of new game announcements or info on upcoming games. Normally at the end of March we already have some fall game announcements that are planned for September, for example. Last year around this time we had the Borderlands 3 announcement and that big gameplay reveal where they invited a ton of people to play and make content about the game. Something you can do of course right now, and these game companies want that. If something gets announced, they want to rule that day. They want to have as much impressions and footage up on YouTube or websites, so people really can't escape their announcements. There will be no hands-on impressions for any games in the foreseeable future. Maybe Ghost of Tsushima will release without any preview coverage. Normally that happens like 2 to 1.5 months before launch, but it seems impossible right now. I can maybe see them send people some B-roll and have an interview possibility via Discord, but there will be nobody telling you how the game plays until very close to the release. Same goes for the new Assassin's Creed. When Odyssey was announced, the internet was full with gameplay and hands-on impressions. Something that will likely not happen this time around. So maybe they delay game announcements because of that. Maybe better have a good reveal like you normally would, than where nobody can actually play your game and upload gameplay. It will be very interesting to see what the coming weeks will look like and if everyone will just keep their cards close to their chest before this is all over. So far at least, the big things happening later this year have not been delayed, although their rollout from reveal will be more different than ever. Totally subscribe if you haven't already for new info on those big upcoming games like the new Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs Legion and consoles like the PS5. And I want to ask you to leave a question in the comments down below for me that you want to have me answer. Because at the end of the next video that I want to do on Sunday, I will be answering your questions from the comments of that previous video. That's something I want to try, so let's see if you got some cool ones. Like this video to support the channel and totally check out my previous video on the latest Assassin's Creed Ragnarok rumors, namely that it's not called Ragnarok at all. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can watch it by clicking on the screen, and I will speak to you next time. For now, goodbye.